you hear that? Feel that? It's Martin thumping on the old Bechet 100 kg next door. It's shaking the shipping container and everything in here. Hey, thanks for being here. It's Tim the Blacksmith. Really glad you're tuning in today. So yeah, I got a new toy. This is going to be a tool for testing the hardness on steel or any other material that we want to test. This was sent to me by viewer James. He picked it up on an auction and was going to use it and then decided, you know what? I'm going to send that to Tim the Blacksmith. And so thank you, James, for sending me this tool. Hopefully it arrives safely. We're going to open it up here in a second and see. What I'm excited about is this is going to allow us to be able to test the hardness on train rail, and particularly for the axis, right? We're making the axis from the old train rail, but every time we do a new piece of train rail from a different date, it would be great to know that once we run through our heat treat cycle, yes, we've got the hardness that we want out of the axe, we can blaze ahead. So we got a lot to learn. I don't know really anything about hardness testers, so we're gonna figure that out. Hopefully it arrives safely. But anyways, let's get into it. Super appreciate you being here. Hope you enjoy this. Let's open this thing up. Oh man, I hope this thing isn't busted up. Look at this bad boy. James, you stinking rock, man. I cannot believe this. This is so cool. At this point, I think everything looks not too bad. Uh-oh. Oh no, only authorized personnel will operate this equipment. That's definitely not me, is it? In Ferndale, Michigan. Anybody watching from Ferndale, Michigan? This is a service diamond hardness tester made by Lewis Small. So I was able to find a diagram in the back of the book here, which has been super helpful to see how this all works. So I'm actually gonna start by taking the cover off here, just so I can get in and start setting up the weights. These guys here actually hang in the back here. And then this little door here has all the, I think they're called anvils, which are the parts that you use to put your specimen on here. So that'll sit like that. If you're doing a flat chunk or if you're doing round ones, that's what these are for. So I've been learning a couple things about this machine, and it has this hydraulic dampener in it to control the speed at which the diamond point pushes into the steel or the penetrator. Let me show you what's going on here. This is the reservoir for it. So this is the arm that moves back and forth, and you can use this control here to lower it down. But there's that hydraulic dampener down there. It calls for a specific type of oil. Checked it, there's no oil in it. So after much research, I have found that I think the equivalent weight oil is gonna be this 10 weight non-detergent from Moto Master, which is Canadian Tire. Yeah, surprised they had this in stock, to say the least. So the dash pot is all filled up with oil and everything seems to be working pretty smooth. What I have to do now is figure out how to set this dial indicator in the right spot. It's adjustable, and because it was off, I got to figure out where it has to be sitting. So I'm trying to work through that right now with the literature in both understanding how it works. So that's what's on the plate right now. Okay, so I think we're really close. I've been playing around with this a little bit, and I just wanted to quickly show you exactly how this works. Looking at the sheet here is the first place to start. So basically for testing hardness, this machine is a Rockwell scale. Now in that Rockwell scale, there's a couple variations. So you'll have a Rockwell C, a Rockwell B, A. It goes through a whole bunch of different letters here. Typical ones that we're going to be using is a C and a B, and more typically for steel, we're going to be using C. So you've maybe heard that referred to as a Rockwell C35. That would be a hardness on a Rockwell C. The reason you use the different categories for hardening is because of the hardness of the material. So for a B type, That's a 1/16 ball that's going to be used for softer materials than using the diamond point. We'll use the diamond point on steel and we'll get to that. But right now let's do the 1/16 ball. So that's a B scale. How this works is this is the penetrating end here. There's a little ball on the end. That's a 1/16 ball. So we know that this is going to be testing Rockwell B. This here is the business end. So we're going to put a piece of material on here. We're going to put this piece of brass. Basically what's happening is there's the arm on the top up here, the weight here, and we gently lower the weight onto it, how far it sinks into, and then that measurement is going to determine our hardness. I'll show you how it works. It's actually really sweet. Now I haven't calibrated it, so we're just going to say it was calibrated. I'll show you how it works, and then we're going to actually go in and try to calibrate this thing. So this is the anvil here. We're going to wind that up till we make contact, like that. Okay, we're ready to go. Well, we're ready to put the preload on, so now we're going to preload it. So this gauge is going to go around 3 times. So that's 1, 2, and 3. We line it up right there. And this little indicator there is pointing on the black, so we know our preload is good. So now the next step to do is we're just going to put the weight on it. So I'm going to take this handle and gently let it go. That's the pneumatic cylinder cushioning that. Okay, we're just going to let that sit. Okay, that's the full weight on it, so that the ball has indented into the brass. Now we pull it back. And now we read our B scale because we're working on the B scale. So we're 34 and a whisker hair more. So that would be our hardness. Here's how we're going to calibrate this thing. This is the kit that came with it. Here's the literature. This is a certificate. So for the B scale, this is actually a block that is a known hardness, has the serial number here, and the hardness here is stamped on this block. So we know how hard this is. What the manual calls to do is now we're going to hit it 5 times. If it's plus or minus 2 points, it's out of calibration. If the machine is out, it actually says right here that I need to adjust the indicator. So we're going to put our test block on here. See how this goes. Okay, preload is on. Set it. Oh, that's not right. That's only 5, 6, 8. B scale of 8. We're supposed to be at 39. Okay, so I'm so far off, I'm gonna actually try to do some rough adjustments here, and I gotta push the whole dial indicator that way a lot. So I'm gonna try that, and we'll see if we can get it closer here. Oh yeah, that's 36 and a bit. I'll try adjusting it a little more. So that's 40. Like, yeah, we're seeing all those numbers in the inspection and calibration, so I think we're ready to rock and roll on that one, which is great. So now we're going to go into the C hardness testing. So that's going to be with the diamond to penetrate it. So let's see how that works out. I just wanted to show you the numbers here. So I've ran, this is on the C scale. This is the harder block, 62.9. And my average is 61.8, and it's plus or minus 2 points, so we're in tolerance there. And then this one is 26.9, so that's the softer one, and this landed at 26.6. So both ways were really good for parameters. We're really in on the C scale, which is what we're going to use. So I thought the first thing to test would be a couple axes. Test those, and then that can be an established point of maybe what we want our axes to be when we make them. That actually reminds me, I have a couple more axes that Martin just finished up that are available on my website. We did the refurbishment on them. If you watch the series that we did at the end of December before Christmas, it's axes like that. Let me quickly show you those because that would be kind of fun, and then we'll get into testing these. So check it out, it's the little Sandvik. Well, it's actually not that little, it's 1 3/4 pound. That's on the 16-inch handle. I think we had a Sandvik 1 1/4 pound head come through at Christmas, which was cool too. Got a Holtzbrook 2.5 pounder here, 24-inch handle. Ooh, come on. Look at that bad boy. Look at that wedge job. Man, Martin just killed that thing. If you don't know what to look for in wedge, if you see that hourglass shape where the center of it is thinner than the outside, that means that sucker's in there super tight. You can get it by hand, but it's really hard. Hydraulic press is how you get that, and that is why these are fitted so good. Such a good fit job on that. This one, this last one, check it out. Wellland Vale, True Temper, Black Prince. Come on. Puget Sound style, so that's a foot across, 12 inches. And check this out, I told Martin to put the longest handle on it ever. Seriously, guys. That's a 44-inch monster. Oh, this is a wild one. This is not for the boys, this is for the men. Seriously, this thing is just huge. I'm gonna put the camera down because you gotta see this. Look at me. I'm a 6'4" beanpole, high heels on here. I'm like 6'6". Look at that sucker, right? This thing, you could do some serious damage with that. Look at the reach on that bad boy. I don't know if you can, is that out of camera? It's out of camera. You can just like, come on. The core of your body, the muscle core you need to swing this thing, it's real, you know? That is such a fun little axe. The Puget Sound axes were made for cutting the big old growth down. So if you watch some old videos, there's guys swinging these axes. That's a full reach with that handle, and it'll only go halfway through the tree. It's just insane. And they had the long handles as well, because on those trees they would cut off of planks sticking out of the tree. So they would have the long handles so they could reach up, get the notch in it to stick the plank in to stand on to cut the tree down. Anyways, I know nobody's gonna need that long of a handle, but come on. They're on my website. I'll put the link down below, timothydig.com. Check them out. They're ready to go, so as soon as you place that order, I'll ship them out to you. Let's go see now if we can find some of those axes to ping on the hardness tester. Got a couple axes here from the shop. That was Martin. He's just started into the 1919 train rail. The next Blackhawks and Hudson Bays are going to be from that. 44. So the average hardness of this axe in the cutting zone is 43.5. That would be Rockwell C. Axe, West Germany axe, is averaging 26.3. I don't know what's good or bad, you know, we're learning here. So up next, this is a piece of the 1913 train rail that's forged. So this is the softest state we're gonna see it in. It would get softer maybe if you annealed it, but this would be a normalized state. So let's check that up there and see how that looks. So the normalized chunk here is 16.75. So let's ping this one. This is a 1913 train rail that I made that cracked on us, so it was too hard. Let's just see what this is going to be like. I'm really interested to see what this is going to be. Oh, interesting. That's 41. I was able to get a really good read on the Hudson Bay axe because I was able to stand it up like you saw. So I got a 44. These two I discarded. I felt like those were inaccurate. So the average is 44. Now the Haltzbrook, I'm not sure how confident I am about how good of a read that it was, but that's looking pretty close. Now I did say that this was a little bit too hard. Anyways, that's some good food for thought. So next up is a piece of train rail. This is 1913 train rail. I cut a sliver. So this is going to be the condition of how it was used. We're going to ping it in 3 areas, see how it looks. We're expecting the top to be quite hard. I'm going to ping it, maybe we'll do 4. We'll do 1 on the edge because it's surface hard. It's probably right there. And then we'll move around and see what it looks like. So look at that, 32. Ping it in the heart, the top, 18. Whoa, no. Wow, that's crazy. I guess as you would expect, 32 here, 25 and a half, 18, and at that point the train rail is the same hardness from here to here to here, because this was 18, 19, and 18. So I just asked Martin to quickly forge me a small piece of the 1919 train rail. He's blanking it right now. We're going to use this piece to cut our samples up for testing here. So this is our first quenched piece here into water. Ice water. Probability that this piece is going to crack should be pretty high. That's the hardened one in water. Okay, next up is into the oil here. We're actually going to do 3 in the oil. Okay. So this is a block to do some preheating on the oil here. All right. Okay, coming in for the last shot here. So this will be cooling it slower. Which, yes.
It'll cool it faster, but to higher temperature.
Okay, that actually could.
Because it's more liquid.
Well, actually, I'm not sure on that one. I'm not sure if it's cooling it faster and then not going as cold, or it's cooling it slower. This will make it less hard. How about we just stick with that? So I don't know how clear this was, but here's what's going on. This is all 1919 train rail. I have these 4 blocks. This one was water quenched. This one was quenched in cold oil. This one was quenched in hot oil. This one was quenched in cold oil, but tempered for 2 hours at 400 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's pretty much what we're making the axes at on the 1913 batch. We'll see how it looks today. So we're going to ping all of these and see how it looks. So first up is the one that was done in the water, and this one should be the hardest one out of them all. Okay, we're going to send it here. Take a look at the numbers here. I find this super fascinating, just loving this. I know you're probably like not even watching anymore because this is as dry as it gets. So we're gonna start with the first piece here, which at normalized was 12.25 Rockwell C. So that's even off the Rockwell C because we're only supposed to go down to 20. So I don't know how accurate that is. Doesn't matter, it's soft. It was consistent through them all, relatively speaking. So this one we did in water, which is going to be the most aggressive quench, and we pinged 54.5 on average. That's a Rockwell C. So that's very interesting. Then I went into cold oil, and the average is 43.5. I went into hot oil. Check that out. The average is exact same, 43.5. So very shocking. Well, I'm shocked at that. I thought there would be difference. That's great because we know that we have cracked axes in this zone. We have not done that. I'm a little bit maybe not quite sure about that 43.5. Maybe we want to try to up that a little bit with getting a thinner oil. I'm not sure. But then take a look at this. Cold oil, 400 degrees Fahrenheit, 2-hour temper. We brought it down to 33.2. Now, that's super interesting because if we flip back here, what we were working on here, the Hudson Bay from the 1913 was 44 degrees after heat treat. So that's where this tool can be so helpful for us, because in my mind, I want to up that up to closer to this, possibly even closer to that, and now we have the ability to measure that. Now, I understand that we're really rudimentary on our process of determining the heat to quench at, and the quenching temperature and quenching oil and all that stuff, but it'll be interesting to continue to ping this and see how much that actually matters, because we can measure that now. The exciting part is now we can check stuff. So I'm gonna mess around a little bit more with that 1919 off camera after this video is done, see if I can play around with that a little bit, and then also go test that axe and see, you know, how much of a difference is this making. So anyways, super excited that we can test this. It feels like it's a discovery into a world that I hadn't been able to tap into before. So nevertheless, pumped about that. I'm gonna stop talking about this thing because I'm guaranteeing you this is probably not that interesting to you. But that's what's going on behind the scenes. Thank you, James, seriously, for sending that to me. Loving it. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing and watching. If you want to take a look at those axes I showed you earlier in this video, link is down below. And I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Until then, keep the forge lit. Bye for now.